Alrighty, it is 7 p.m. November 11th. Call to the order the notice of the public hearing for the proposed 2026 Town of Lake Mills budget. It was posted on the website and on the town hall. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you didn't see, that there is a budget on the back counter. The floor is open for public comment. Please step up to the mic and write your name, who you are, and where you live in the town for us to get to know you as you have thoughts or questions about the budget. Any thoughts or questions about the budget? All right.
This question, quite visually impaired, so John Pure from over in the Rock Lake Homeowners Association over on Woodfield Lane. One of the line items I believe I saw on the budget was for debt reduction, paying off the debt, but I think it's zero.
Correct.
And trying to understand, is it zero because there is no debt, or is there a reason where that's not going to be paid this year?
There's no debt.
No debt.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wish I could something already.
If you want to come. The notice from the budget is small.
All right. Any additional comments regarding the budget during the public hearing session? All right.
I'm gonna adjourn the public.
Can I get a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. Adjournment to close the public hearing has been, there's been a motion to close the public hearing on the floor. All those in favor say aye. 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 All those opposed say nay. Public hearing meeting adjourned. Notice of special meeting of electors. It is now 7:03 at the Lake Mills Town Hall. This is called to order, given for the special town meeting of the electors for the town of Lake Mills in Jefferson County for the discussion of the expenditures. It's now in session. This is first item is the discussion or decision to approve the total year 2026 highway expenditures pursuant of section 81.01, section 3 of Wisconsin statutes of $451,500. This is.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Okay, I was just gonna say, you as the electors can make the motion. Thank you, Jim.
Is Daisy seconded?
Yes.
I second.
There's been a motion to approve the total year 2026 highway expenditure pursuant of section 81.1, section 3 of Wisconsin State Statute of $451,500. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries for the approval of the total year 2026 highway expenditures pursuant to section 81.1 of section 3 of Wisconsin statutes of $451,500. Next item on the agenda is.
I see a typo. It should say 2025, not 2024.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I'll fix that. Discussion and or decision to approve the 2025 total town tax levy of $734,030. to be collected in 2026 in pursuant of Wisconsin Statute 60-10, Section 1A. Any discussion?
Motion to approve $734,030 for town tax levy 2025.
Is there a second?
I second it.
There's been motion to approve the 2025 town tax levy total of $734,030. Any further discussion? All those approved say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries for the approval of the 2025 town tax levy of $734,030 to be collected in 2026. Is there a motion to adjourn the special electors meeting?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved to adjourn the special meeting of electors. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Meeting has been adjourned. All right. Now, moving on to the town board meeting. It is Tuesday, November 11th, 2025. We will call this meeting to order as the notice has been posted on the town website and out on the town hall. Adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor of the adoption of tonight's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries for the approval of tonight's agenda. And we have two approval of minutes. So we'll do the first one for the last town board meeting. We'll need a motion for the approval of the meeting minutes on October 14th town board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
So approval of the meeting minutes for October 14th, 2025 for the town board meeting. Any further discussion? Nope. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries with approval of the minutes from October 14th, 2025 for the town board meeting. We need the approval of the minutes from the special meeting on Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025, which was the special budget workshop.
So moved.
Give John a minute.
Second.
It's a tough read there on that
Well,
one, right?
it's not. It just doesn't have a tremendous amount of detail.
No, it's just that one motion, yeah.
Yep.
There's been a motion for the approval of the minutes from special meeting on Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025 for the budget workshop. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries for the approval of the minutes from the special meeting on October 22nd, 2025. Is everybody in acceptance of the treasurer's report? Yes. Okay, great. Approval of town expenses. I don't believe there are any, correct?
Did I have any? Yeah, I
You have,
have an expense sheet for the order review certified letter
Oh, got it.
postage.
do you want to, do they want to,
Yep.
The amount is listed on the expenditure sheet. Can't read it from here, I don't have my glasses on.
oh,
What's the amount of the check? Just tell them that much.
$20.96.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been motion to approve the town board expense sheet. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries for the approval of the town expense sheets. Approval of the general fund vouching report. It is actually $95,181.14.
So
Had to be adjusted.
we had to adjust it, we had to replace a check, so.
My check. I lost it, John. I'll own it.
That happens.
I appreciate,
I threw two of them out last
Robin.
month.
Uh-oh.
Not yours.
I appreciate Robin trying to keep my name out of it, but I own that. The sad part is I found it and then I lost it again.
Because this would have come from Sharon, so this would have been an email packet to you.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to look at my clip? It's the last page on here.
So the total, on the next page, on this back page would be 95, 181, 14. There you go.
Okay.
So is there a motion to approve the general fund vouching?
So moved?
Second.
All right, so motion to approve the general fund vouching. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries for the approval of the general fund vouching. Next item of business is our reports. Chief Robert, take it away with the police report.
Okay, this will be for October. So for October, the police department participated and assisted with the Lake Mills High School and the Lakeside Lutheran homecoming parades. So those are the things that we participated in. I also made contact at the Lake Mills Chamber about a day after you did to ask them to include us in more of their emails so we get more of what's going on, like which is night out, things like that, which we don't normally get an invite to. So I met with somebody you must have talked to, because she's like, Kyle was just here, or just talked to somebody at the chamber.
Yeah.
So I got on an email list for the police department,
Awesome.
so they'll be inviting us to more of the events that are happening in the city and things like that. So had a discussion with them. Last month for training for October, we participated in training with Jefferson County, Lake Mills, Johnson Creek, Oakland. So we had firearms training, vehicle contacts training, and then active shooter training at the Johnson Creek Middle School last month. So that pretty much will wrap up the training for this year, and that gets Brian and I all of our training hours for this year then. So
Awesome.
the boat, I think I mentioned last time, is out of the water and has been winterized up at the dealership, and we now have it in the storage shed, all cleaned up and covered up for the winter. Come out if necessary, but it's all winterized for now. Road patrol for October, we had just about 21 hours of road patrol. There were 7 traffic citations, issued 2 warnings, followed up on several complaints, about 5 or 6 complaints. We had a total of 6 traffic stops. I know we assisted Robin, and I went out to the truck stop just for licensing issues to get that all in line. So they're up to date on their licensing, and then I had a discussion with the new manager, because they now have a new manager and they needed a new manager's license. So I think that all went
It's all taken care of.
all taken care of. So they are all up to snuff on their licensing for the truck stop, for
Awesome.
their alcohol licensing. So I know Randy, Officer Burns, was in, I believe last week is what it was. So he's working, he put together the Coast Guard report. I don't know if he sent you that or if you get a
He
copy
has
of that.
not, but I should get a
But he
copy
was
of
going
it.
to reach out to you anyways to talk to you about all of it. He did put together the Coast Guard report for 2025, and
Okay.
he was going to talk to you about the other stuff then.
Yeah,
To
the
get
boat
everything,
audit.
yeah, the boat
Okay.
audit, to get everything closed up for the year, because we have to have that in by the end of January.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all moving right along with all of our stuff, so.
Did he do the intent to patrol? I think that's due in December, isn't it?
That he did not do. He didn't send it to me, so I can talk to
Okay.
him about it.
I think it's due in December.
Okay, I'll talk with him. I'll give him a call tomorrow. Okay, that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
John, Planning Commission report?
We did have a plan commission meeting this month. We also were to meet with the Parks Committee. Only one person showed up from the Parks Committee. The reason we met with them was to discuss Majala Shores. I had conversations with members of that committee regarding Majala Shores, regarding shoreline improvements, if we wanted to do that, and also other improvements to the park. There really wasn't any impetus to do anything at all with the shoreline. It was, what should I say, highly disturbed last year during the ice shove. And, you know, the dirt might have been lifted up 3 feet or 4 feet or something like that. But now it's all reestablished with plants, and it's got volunteer trees growing in it and things like that. And that's basically, you know, what a healthy shoreline is. So it's no different than other shorelines that haven't been hardened, for example.
Sure.
So there wasn't a impetus to really, you know, do a study or pursue with the county hardening that shoreline with boulders, which would be the solution there if there was a solution at this time anyway. The other issue is whether or not that was a good location for a kayak launch. You know, it wasn't felt that that was a good location for a kayak launch either. The water's very shallow there. It's very mucky. The access to the lake is quite narrow unless we would clear out some of these volunteer trees and plants and things like that. The kayak storage that the township has is at Ferry Park, which has a more accessible shoreline, has a rocky bottom and things like that. So if someone wanted to step in the water to get in their kayak or something, it's a way better spot to do it than at Magellan Shores. So that was the discussion on that. We also discussed ADU zoning, which Jefferson County is pursuing, I'll say, and they put that out to various townships, their proposed zoning. Some of the townships came back, in fact, this was one of them, came back with, did not approve that zoning within this township. That was just done last year. This plan commission did vote to approve that ADU zoning. At least get that voted to approve it and bring it to this board and recommend that the board approve. The conversation there is the township can always put more restrictions on it than Jefferson County would. As a township, we can make it more strict if we want to. But the zoning did seem to address the issues that were the concerns of the plan commission, the proposed zoning, I should say. So we should get copies of that proposed zoning for a future meeting, and
It is an agenda item for us to
although
discuss
I don't think we have
further.
copies in our packet, so we should all look at that.
What I get from the county is this.
Yeah,
Their proposed zoning,
That's it.
yeah,
yeah,
the language of their proposed zoning.
yeah, that was it.
That's it. So what else are you guys looking to have?
I don't know if everybody has that. I don't have that in my packet.
Did you have it
this
for your
meeting.
plan commission?
We did, yes.
Okay, and that, usually I don't make a duplicate copy for the town board meeting.
Okay.
Usually I just have you take from your plan commission packet and use it for this.
Okay.
So if you wanna borrow mine I just need to make sure I get it back.
Okay, I would just recommend that this board look at it before they vote on it, and I don't know if the board has seen it, so to me, my recommendation down below is gonna be to, you know, have it as a discussion item on next month's meeting, then,
Sure.
and that everybody get copies and review it.
Yeah, so they all received the copies for tonight.
Okay,
I had it via email. I reviewed it, so we can discuss it. but
Okay.
We don't have to vote on it if we're
Okay.
at that point, you know, if you haven't had a chance to, but we can certainly bring up those points for the first, for the few items in there. I think Sarah passed along some of the notes.
She did, yeah, I
via
forwarded her email.
Very last minute, well,
Did
yesterday.
everybody get a chance to read that email?
I haven't.
Yeah. We'll go through that when we get to
Okay,
that agenda item.
make sure I have it pulled up.
Maybe good that we discuss it in that item and then take it back to them anyway with some additional thoughts.
Okay.
Thank you, John, for the planning commission report. Fire and EMS reports. Chief Russ, we'll let you go first.
Good evening, everybody, and to start off with thanks if there's any veterans in here. Happy Veterans Day. I don't know if we got any in here, but any that are out in the crowd in TV land. So you should have all gotten a report. If there's any questions on it, I can update you to it. Hot topics on it, though. Staff remaining the same, so we're keeping our staff where we need to. We did see an uptick in responder response in the month of October. We went up from 7.6 or something like that to, we're up to 8.32, which is good. An additional body really means a lot on a lot of calls. So finalizing the budget this month over at the city. Everything looks like everything's moving forward as planned. October was fire prevention, so it's a big month for us, staying active in all the schools, different daycares, things like that. The big focus this year was on lithium batteries and the safety of them. Please, please, please do not throw them in the garbage. Glad he's here, because it just means bad news for them, it means bad news for us, and they probably have to dump a load of garbage somewhere on the highway, and then we have to fight the fire, and then they have to clean it up. So the biggest thing with lithium batteries is the storage of them. We're seeing more and more fires that are starting because of lithium batteries. People throw them on their battery charger, they just leave them, forget about them, and next thing you know, something goes haywire. There's a lot of videos out there. One, I believe it was New York City, where they had their little battery-powered bike in the house, and the house had video cameras, and literally it was a matter of seconds. It went from sitting there charging to completely engulfed in flames. So just be safety with those. Recommend you, if you charge them, you see that they're green, they're ready to go, take them off the charger, set them aside. So, and again, don't throw them in the garbage. Thank you.
Just a reminder, I want to plug my stuff tonight on the charger.
As weather turns colder here, we're just keeping an eye. Mill Pond's already had some skim ice on it. We like to get out there as long as there's probably only an inch and a half, and start practicing ice water rescue, because that'll be the next part for the day. And for the season, it looks like we have a call. So unless there's any questions that you have for me, I noticed that the siren is on there.
Yeah.
Any questions on it?
I think it's kind of.
Yeah, we just gotta
Right,
figure out
right.
how we're gonna expense it and go from there.
All right.
We can reach
Do
out
you
by
have a
email if
recommendation?
necessary.
Do you have a recommendation of the siren? There's the repair, there's the buy a new one, part of a new one, and then there's the more expensive new one.
I think the repair is fine, as long as we get onto a good maintenance plan, which now we're back onto an operational maintenance plan. Focused every year of getting them viewed at and taken care of, checked, inspected, operated, and checking the charging systems.
So the repair costs the same as the new part, is that not repairing part of the old part?
One of them was for basically what it is it's looking for a used one or a rebuilt one,
Yeah.
versus buying a new one. And then there is the idea of a whole brand new
Moses,
siren itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chief, you have somebody who inspects them?
Yeah, Badger, right now we're contracted with Badgerline Communications.
Okay.
Seems to be doing a great job getting us in, getting them serviced and taken care of. They've been good at, they found the parts for the one that was on Highway B last year that was bad.
Yep.
But the other big focus that we have to start looking at is it appears that they're going out because of lightning strikes. Makes sense, they're taller than most everything, they're metal up there, so looking at making sure that they're grounded properly might be an issue that we are facing right now. So that'll be something that we want to make sure we get going.
So those sirens are activated by the sheriff's department, those are all radio controlled then?
Correct.
And what about your one for the fire department? That's separate, your own activation, or is that?
It's operated by the dispatch center, but
Okay.
we can also operate it ourselves.
Okay.
And make sure we get going with regard to the grounding. Would that be in the fire department's court or the township's court?
All depends, because that whole system, and I don't know if you've had a talk with Drake on it, but the idea back, Jim, maybe you might remember this, maybe they were even prior to Jim, but they were bought by the township, and then the city, Power and Light, was maintaining them. And then when I came on board, the new public director came to me with this box of stuff and said, I think this is yours. And I'm like, no, not really. So then that's where I don't know how long they went not maintained or checked, but during the transition,
Do they have lightning rods on it that are grounded, or they're lacking lightning rods?
they should be grounded. They should be grounded. Do they have a separate lightning rod? That I don't believe so.
Are you recommending it? I don't.
I would refer that to the manufacturer of them.
Okay?
I wouldn't want to do any sort of redundancy type thing that might cause issues.
And if that's referred to the manufacturer, whose court is that in? Our court,
All
your
depends on
court?
how you proceed with the repair on this one. I would think if you're having the repair done and if you're gonna budget for it, that might be something I would look into.
We own the equipment, basically, so I would think that would be in our court.
But Power and Light used to maintain it. Are they gonna start maintaining it again or not?
Our power light is no longer, we've transitioned to Badgerland.
Okay.
So they do a one year at the beginning of the season.
So it'll be up to us to contact Badgerland to ask them to look at the ones we have.
Right now, I have the budget to have them inspected.
And report to you, and then you
They
report to
report to me,
us.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now I get it.
So. All right.
Give you a call.
Thank you. I'll double check, see what it is.
Tracy,
For Cambridge, Cambridge Fire and EMS Commission, I can report that the ambulance 92 has been sold. It went to, I think, West Bend, Lifestar in West Bend, so that's good. There was some discussion at our last meeting. The collective bargaining agreement is expiring at the end of the year, so it looks like there will be some discussions regarding that as we head into the first of 2026. I think with that collective bargaining agreement, a lot will be hinged on what happens with the IGA. The fire-only IGA was discussed quite heavily at our last meeting. I did put together a budget that was fire-only, and a lot of discussion regarding that budget in itself, because as that budget is a standalone fire IGA for the 4 municipalities, the budget for that is still over 200,000. So the discussion point came back for that is
Sorry, is it out of balance by 200,000 or the total budget is 200?
the budget for just the fire department
Okay,
is over $200,000.
okay.
So my question back to the commission was, if we are moving to a fire-only IGA for those municipalities, and then you are looking at contracting your EMS service, and your contract cost for your EMS service may be $1 million, whatever it might be. We are still looking at a $1.2 million budget. There's still that question of what is sustainable. So we do have a intergovernmental meeting again tomorrow night with all of the municipalities. I believe on the agenda for that is really the discussion on does the commission move to a fire-only IGA, and then each municipality will then either contract the EMS services themselves, or the IGA will contract one EMS service. My question back to that again was, in order to be able to make decisions on a fire-only IGA, I think we needed to have some pricing as far as from different EMS services for what that would look like on the contract side. So I don't know if that's happened as of yet, so I guess we'll wait till tomorrow night. But a lot of discussion on the sustainability. They were also kind of bringing it back to the budget item. There was discussion on hiring the EMS director. So it did appear at the end of our meeting that the one individual that was that submitted an application was going to be interviewed with the intention of potentially moving forward with hiring a EMS director. However, with that being said, I think there is still a lot pending on the table because of the budget, amendments to the IGA, and so forth. So there's a lot happening, but at the moment it's kind of at a standstill until we have this meeting tomorrow night. So.
are you available for that meeting, John, tomorrow?
I would say yes if you want me to attend.
And I
It's in
posted a quorum
Christiana.
notice.
Christiana.
Yep, it's at the
Yeah.
Christiana Town Hall. Yep, at 6:30 tomorrow night.
I will not be able to attend, so if somebody can have another voice. We're not following their format. to make a decision at that meeting,
Right.
but, all the other communities are in that format, making decisions and votes, so we'll just,
If we
Hear
need to
'em out.
hold a special meeting in order to do something, then we will hold a special
Correct.
meeting here to do so. Yeah.
I think given the complexity and the sensitivity of the subject, to have us make a decision, just as the attorney has mentioned,
yeah.
to have us make a decision on moving forward, I think in a short notice like that, it's asking a lot.
Okay.
We drafted a letter, what's the status of that draft?
The first draft was done. I added some additional things.
And it's gonna be going to the attorney next.
It's going to the attorney next.
And it's being held right now,
Right.
Correct.
okay.
All right, Joint Rock Lake Committee review of minutes. Did you get a copy of those, Robin, from the Joint Rock Lake?
Well, they have their
Oh,
meeting.
you got it, you got
I
it.
just have one question, if I might. How many people, when you're talking that over 200,000, and as far as we're concerned, is it still that small piece of 200 people or whatever?
240.
Yeah, yep, it's,
Okay.
yep, that's our number, so, yep.
Because we still have City of Lake Mills taking care of a lot of.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. The lion's share is held by Lake Mills. We just have that small section that
It would
is,
be the same ones you were talking about for the EMS would be the fire.
yes,
Fire element.
yep.
Thank you.
Did you have a note on the Joint Rock Lake?
That's
They're-
not
they're
me.
meeting-
I'm
yeah, they're meeting.
ROIA.
They're
Oh,
meeting tomorrow night, so their meeting is always like right after our meeting, depending on where the calendar date falls.
Sure.
So you won't have minutes for that yet.
Do we have last month's minutes from
That's what I
that?
mean.
Shelley had sent off the minutes, I believe I
Okay.
forwarded them at that time, but if I
I
didn't.
remember,
I'll
I remember
double
getting
check.
them.
Okay.
Yep.
Town share report. Got a bunch of items on my notes to give to you all. City of Lake Mills does not plan to have the yard waste fully dump site fully functional until spring of 2026. They have gates and cameras. Come springtime, they're looking at making a decision how they want to connectorize everything, whether it's with a key fob or codes to punch in. They're trying to figure that out. It did seem positive in the direction that we're looking, that we'll have access as the township. However, they figure that out. They are looking at two options, whether it's individuals or they sign a lump IGA with us. I recommended look at it as an individual basis and plan for that accordingly. The joint grant for Hope Lake Road was voted as the top road project to send to the state for evaluation for Jefferson County by the Jefferson County Committee. It's a positive note in the first hurdle of achieving a potential grant consideration, although the size of the project, basically going from Highway 18 to Highway 89, crossing G, crossing Crossman A, it's a long section of road. The total project is $3.74 million. From what I gather, in the subsection of the DOT, there's only, they have in their limits of awarding one grant of some value, but we're going to work on that from the time we submit to the time that they hopefully award in early March, to making some friends at the DOT. But again, it was a positive note that we were ranked with that Astalon and Town of Oakland.
Of that 3.7 million, about approximately how much of that is our responsibility in the town of Lake Mills?
1.4. 1.4 now.
Okay.
We also submitted an entitlement grant that was earmarked for the township for some work on North Shore Road. That's where we're looking as of now, in partnership with the county for $35,000. We got that submitted with the county, and I'll give you an update as that comes through. We had some grading issues. It was also noted on here up in Shorewood Hills on Bridle Path, in between W8219 and W8211. going to be looking into this. It's a complaint that we have to consider because it's in the right of way of the township. We may have to get them to get an engineer and figure out where they feel it's a grading issue. It's about water in that ditch line. There's water typically there anyway. So we just try to figure that out and what that proper drainage is or not is based on the work that was done around that area. The new inspector, MSA, has been implemented with the town and has been functioning and handling building inspections. Thank you, Robin, for getting that done quickly. They inspected my generator and did a great job doing that right away as well. So
More information will be put on the website
Yes.
too. There's going to be a digital application that people can use now, rather than just a fill in the blank
PDF.
form.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. So excited to get that rolling with MSA directly. They've been handling and very informative. We had built up some of the manholes in Shorewood with spray injection patching to utilize to make sure the snow plows don't hook any frame and lids. We utilized some of the extra materials for some potholes on the Shorewood Hills Road to hopefully slow some of the deterioration with some of the potholes that were there. We had some frustrations because of the loose gravel, but the idea behind that is the gravel fills in, you know, as they drive over it. There was some excess stuff there that the contractor actually went back through and cleaned it all off. So looks pretty good. I drove through there. The manhole lids turned out really well. You know, we just needed a little bit of added space. I'm curious how well this is going to hold up through the winter and having snow plows riding over top of them. And then, you know, we got to fix some extra bad spots on Shorewood Hills Road. We've been working on some final trimming and brushing before the snow plow season. We got a list that we're putting together to get that finalized, so that'll probably be the last thing on our budget for large expenses from now until the end of the year. When it comes to roadway stuff, there's just a couple areas where trees are hanging down, and that's going to hit, you know, plows and windshields. Hopefully not, but we don't want to be responsible for that per our contract. So, other than that, Parks Committee they met with the Planning Commission, so we'll take it from there. Open it up to the public comment section on our agenda. Section 8, you have 3 minutes if you would want to stand up and provide some comment. Feel free, state your name, where you live, and let's make sure you sign in before you walk away from the stand.
I'm signed in. Thank you, Scott Campmeyer, N6498, Shorewood Hills Road. You provided the update that I was here for, so I'd like to just publicly thank you for your continued attention to that request, and I look forward to some kind of resolution in the spring regarding brush disposal site.
All right.
Thank you, I appreciate the board's efforts.
Anyone else? All right, moving on to item number 9, applications. We have none, is that correct?
no zoning applications, that
The
is.
zoning applications, yep. All right, old discussion, discussion and decision of John's disposal contract and 2026 costs with Nate Austin, who is our representative. Nate, sorry to formalize, if you don't mind standing up to the podium so we can clearly hear you on record.
Got it.
Sounds official, right?
It's what I come to meetings, it's what I do. It's been a few years since I've been here. Yeah, we proposed a 3.1% cost of living increase for next year. It's kind of the allowable limit within our contract. I don't have a lot to share other than that. I think collection's been going fairly well in the town. Robin and I generally touch base a few times a year if there are concerns. We've had some discussions about yard waste, which I gather has come through the board. There's a lot I can share about yard waste, depending on what you'd like like to do, but
I think we have a good solution moving forward and just waiting that out until the spring of 2026. I think that was a backup plan if they couldn't figure out a timeline for us and how we were gonna go about it. Maybe adding, if that was something that came up, but I think we have a good direction. As long as they can get that resolved before April 1st or May 1st, when people start cutting grass.
We do have budget, we budgeted for yard waste pickup like we've done in the
Yeah.
past, just as a backup plan, so. I do know that they create calendars, so we may want to maybe do the curbside throughout this year until the new system's really up and running fully, since we did budget for it, and then transition out of that at the end of 2026,
Sure.
so.
yeah, we come down to the wire on calendars. I don't know.
Right, that's why-
Tax bills.
And the gal that does the calendars is Sarah. Yeah, she had already asked about dates and stuff, so it's kind of automatic. It's always the first weekend in November, third weekend in November, and then the spring date is always set on a specific Saturday too, so.
And honestly, if the city's doing a drop-off site, which they haven't, we own the city and they haven't asked me about it, which is great. I love to not be involved in yard waste collection. So if they have a good solution that you guys are able to piggyback on, I think that's really probably going to be the most cost-effective way to go.
Yeah, we understand it's not the most ideal for you guys to collect that as well.
It's my 2 cents is, it's the toughest service we provide, so we're still family owned and operated, we're only in southeastern Wisconsin, and we have yard waste obligations in a dozen or so communities to varying degrees, and typically when the leaves fall here, they fall in all the other communities that we have as well, and so our demand's high. So you schedule it out on the calendar every year, and then inevitably, you get the early snow or the late snow, and it's a tough one.
Yeah.
What they do is running leaves off that first one.
Yeah.
I just have one other quick one on the batteries, and I'm glad you brought that up. I put it in all my letters last year, so last year my rate letter had a little thing about the batteries. They're probably our #1 concern as a hauler from a completely unknown safety standpoint. And just as an example, a lithium ion or a lithium polymer battery can be completely discharged, showing red, all red, 0. And if you strike that, in our industry, it's, if a truck compacts it in the wrong way in a load, if someone puts it on, or if a loader runs over it on the yard, I think it's likely that our last facility fire was that, millions of dollars of damage, and then we generally have a few load fires each year, which our drivers are, if they can get somewhere good to do it, get out and push the load out, but at the end of the day, it's save the truck. Trucks are expensive, and so.
Is there something that you guys offer or are doing for lithium-ion battery drop-offs or discharge or old batteries that they can drop those off? Because what do we do with them as a community?
I won't publicly recorded meeting share to people that do offer that service because I don't contract with them to do so.
Sure.
But if you Google it, or we can share resources, certainly happy to share resources. What we can do is really what's in our contract, your AA, AAA, your alkaline batteries, those are actually landfill approved. But we generally advise people, anything that charges, you have to look up what it is and find the place to take it. And so even if I could take them, with bulk collection or something, which I can't, I don't know that I want my drivers transporting them just for fear of the fire risk, and I don't want them coming into my facility and being put in the wrong spot for fear of that. So there are places that do it. It's a little more specialized than what we do.
I believe the Clean Sweep program collects them, don't they?
The Clean Sweep does it, but it's
It
like,
doesn't, the lithium ones they don't
it's
collect?
like, they do, but it's like once a year, right? Or
Yeah. it's
twice a year. Like,
So then in the meantime, everybody's storing them.
There are stores. There are literally franchise locations that people can bring them to.
Okay.
So I just encourage people to look it up and think twice before they put something in the bin.
Got me thinking twice. And taking my stuff out of the charger.
So basically what we need to do tonight is approve the increased amounts of the
$13.53 per month for garbage pickup per household, the $6.90 per month for recycling, and then for the yard waste, the $2.06 per pickup per household. That's what we're approving tonight. So.
Got it. Is there a motion to approve the 3% increase, the 3% cost of living increase for the 2026 costs?
So moved.
Second?
There's a motion to approve John's Disposal 3% increase to their contract for the cost of living for the 2026 costs. Any further discussion?
Is it 3.1%?
3.1 technically, 62
Perfect.
2 cents a month.
3.1% increase for the cost of living. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries to approve John's Disposal 3.1% increase for the cost of living for their 2026 contract.
Just hand that over to Kyle. Why don't you sign that right away for Nate, and then you can take that copy with him. Yep. Yeah, over here. And I'll get the signature for our copy one later tonight. Okay. Nate, there you go.
Thank you, Nate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you as well. Next agenda item under old business, discussion and decision on Jefferson County proposed zoning ordinance amendment to allow accessory dwelling units, or referenced as ADU. It was recommended from the planning commission that we do approve that. I just have a lot of functional concerns. It seems like a lot of enforcement that falls on our responsibility with no financial reimbursement from the county of how do we make sure some of these items are checked. Also fire codes. I think in this it requires the ADU to have its own fire number.
There was a recommendation to that, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think one way that I've heard some municipalities are thinking about regulating this is actually prohibiting short-term rentals, because when it becomes a short-term rental, I believe the health department or something else kicks in where they have to have inspections. And that's helped with part of the regulations on at least the short-term rental side of it. But if it does become
So there was 2 issues regarding that. One of them
Yeah.
is that to have at least a 6-month rental if it's rented. And the other one is that the owner of the property needs to live in one of the 2 buildings. Again, that comes back to enforcement here, but the concern with ADUs was that someone buys a property, they're buying it to make it an Airbnb, they put an ADU on the property, that's an Airbnb as well. Now there's nobody really overseeing what's going on there, it's in a neighborhood, people have parties at Airbnbs at times, get family together and things like that. So that was the other recommendation with regard to that. Other than that, it was, they do need to meet regular zoning with regard to setbacks, lot coverage ratio, parking requirements. If it has a separate fire number, the fire department would know where they're going. If they show up at a property, someone 911, they have a heart attack, they're not gonna go break down the door in the wrong unit that no one's in, right? Theoretically, if the person's on the floor in the other unit.
How does that work with our numbering system today? Are we able to split some of those off or just be able to break
That's at
that?
the county level, but they usually leave quite a few numbers in between.
Okay.
For rural areas. They might have to rethink that in some areas, maybe not so
Right.
much for our municipality, but more the condensed areas, they might have to. I think the enforcement side, though, is important, because is their law or their
Right.
ordinance, so they're gonna be the ones enforcing this. I agree
guess-
with you.
I guess that's what my thought was. This is the county allowing this in their zoning, but we have to enforce it as a town. Is that correct? Is that what you guys?
Didn't really get into the enforcement aspect of
Yeah.
it.
I don't know.
I mean, to me, I think you'd enforce it like you enforce anything else.
Yeah.
There was the question here about the grading on the lot line, how is that enforced? Right, I don't see that on the agenda, but someone in public comment or in comments.
That was my note.
Contacted us regarding it. Who enforces that? I don't know. Does the HOA enforce that? Does the,
Well, it's in our public right of way, so we gotta make sure the drainage is proper.
somebody did something on their rear lot line, so it's where two
Oh, that
lot
one,
lines
yeah.
come together, so that's not in the public right of way.
Right, that's,
So, again, my question with that one was, whose jurisdiction is that in? Is that in the HOA's jurisdiction, or is that in the township's jurisdiction? I don't know the answer to it. I was hoping we could address that in this meeting. But getting back to that, I also had a question regarding this. I mean, a lot of ADUs in urban areas are people sort of change their garages into a dwelling unit. And a garage has a different setback than a house does, than a dwelling unit does in zoning. And
That-
so,
A slightly different building code depending on how old the garage is too, if it's detached, attached.
right,
It could be all-
well, it'd have to be brought up to code. I mean, if you're gonna
Right.
change something into a dwelling unit, you're gonna do HVAC, electrical, plumbing, fire protection with regard to rocking the walls and, you'd have to bring the whole thing up to code. But just the setback issue is an issue as far as I'm concerned, because now it's an occupied building, it's not a garage anymore. Garages can be 3 feet from a lot line, and a house has to be 10 feet from a lot line. So, would we then say, no, that's not an ADU? That is an ADU in a lot of cities. That's the way they increase density in a lot of cities. This was an effort by the county to address affordable housing. That affordable housing is an issue even in this county, which is much more affordable than a lot of other places in the United States, but that's what it's in an effort to address.
Do you know, and I didn't read it fully myself, like when we look at the zoning of, say they pass this and we have certain locations where these ADUs are gonna be, are they gonna have a specific code then, zoning code associated with them, so they're identifiable through the zoning codes, or is it gonna be an A1 zone with an ADU on it? How are they structuring?
I have a question about that as well, because I would have to know what their, have better knowledge of what all their zonings are, but I'm assuming a single-family zoning is different than a duplex zoning, and there was also conversations that you can just do it within a house. In other words, put an addition to a house or whatever, and if it's, you got a firewall there and a separate
mother-in-law
entrance
suite
and
or
everything,
something.
then it's an ADU, which is a little weird to me. It's more like
It's
it's a
an
duplex.
addition, yeah.
Addition to your house or whatever.
I-
But it's not, you can't get in it through the inside, you'd have to go through the outside, and of course you have a firewall in between like you would in a duplex.
from what I read, they were conditional use permits,
Okay,
is how they would work that.
that's how they would
It's still a
identify.
conditional use to a specific zoning. though,
Correct.
Right, to an underlying zoning.
Right.
And then they wanted to, this planning commission discussed this ownership issue being recorded, with the land. So in other words, it doesn't exist with the owner, it exists with the land. So you
So it'd be
deed
deeded.
restrict the land. That, one of these two units needs to be occupied by the owner of the property.
Gotcha.
So that's a deed restriction. So when you talk about enforcement, it would be whoever enforces our deed restrictions now.
Okay.
And to me, that's a zoning issue. I think zoning is the county.
Yeah. Did you guys talk about like properties having an ADU?
We didn't, with regard to lot coverage and setbacks and things like that. I mean, a lot of the lake lots are, you think that that's where it would be most attractive to do it, because you're like, hey, I can rent this thing out for,
Sure.
X number of $1,000 a month and give these people lake access and everything. It'll really have some value. But to meet all the zoning requirements, I mean, I'm on the lake, I couldn't put one on my lot, that's for sure.
Guys are tight on that
Right, so
corner.
you're sort of,
Yeah,
You know, as you go around the lake, there was my neighbor to the south has a very large lot, you know, could absolutely do it on his lot. You know,
Yeah.
so there's an example. But we didn't talk about restricting it along the lake or anything like that, Kyle.
okay. I think,
Is this open for public comment? Yeah.
If you choose to, as a board.
Pardon me?
If you choose to, it can be open for
Okay.
public
Yeah.
to.
Because Jim's here, and he was on the last planning commission, and they voted nay
I-
3 times.
I guess, if you're willing, Jim, I'll open the floor to you to weigh in on
If he has
some.
any
Well,
comments.
I think the reason I was against it was because picture Shorewood Hills, you've got a large, there's some large lots up in Shorewood Hills. And they'll build another building on that lot. Zoning doesn't allow an R1 lot to be split presently. I don't know if they're gonna deal with that issue. But you wouldn't be splitting it, you'd just be putting another building on one residential lot. You're just increasing the density. It's more runoff into the lake, things like that. I would be more for it if it was attached and not detached, I guess. And that was one of the objections. I wasn't in favor of having a detached ADU on a residential lot.
Yeah, to 500 feet, I think it is. Yeah.
It just creates.
More, yep, there'd be, and I commented on that, thank you, Jim, I commented on that in the plan commission meeting. You're going to have, you know, more surface area covered. I mean, if you're gonna get back there with the driveway, you're extending a driveway. If you obviously clearly have another roof, right? You might have more runoff onto your neighbor's yard because where you placed it, you know, all those little issues. And it does increase density. That's the goal of it, is to increase density, quite frankly. So, you know, with regard to this board, do we think that's a good idea to increase density?
So there's no zoning done by the township itself, zoning is done by the county? And does the county have a zoning administrator at all who enforces zoning? Because generally, I believe that's a zoning administrator's job, right, to enforce zoning. If they're not doing that currently, why would you think they would do it in the future?
Yeah, that's my concern, is who's gonna enforce it, in making sure that it's being abided. Now, we can verify that with permits and things of that when they're looking at that all of a sudden, hey, with the inspection, this isn't what was supposed to be, we can bring that up. But then, once it's already there, are you gonna ask them to take it down? You know, are you gonna ask them to move it? Are you gonna ask them to, you know, hey, that's not correct, you need to, you know, spend.
Well, it's not gonna already be there. I mean, every aspect of it would have to be permitted.
I just know a lot of cities are going to having like zoning enforcement. Like
Yeah.
officers now who are strictly going around doing zoning enforcement.
Yeah, our building inspection service now that we have, will do zoning enforcement if we create a local ordinance that restricts this in some way or prohibits it altogether, or, you know, some other zoning issue at our local level. So we can have the building inspector play a part in that if we create a local ordinance.
And one of the reasons this exists around the country is because, A, there's not any land. You
Right.
know, if you want to go back east, there's no more land. You know, people have been living there for hundreds of years now. They can't just keep spreading out.
Correct.
And then if you're in urban areas, many urban areas out west, certainly along the Pacific coast, you know, lots are so dear that, and the, you know, the cost of a lot isn't $500,000 here, you know, yet there still is land. So
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons that these ADUs have been instituted in a number of cities in the nation, is because of housing crisis. I don't know if we have a housing crisis in the town of Lake Mills.
Jim, did you have?
Jim, we'll open the floor.
Towns don't have zoning authority, that's another issue.
Right.
You cannot enforce a zoning code in the township. So I don't know how you'd ever create one,
Yeah.
unless you go, the only way you can do it is opt out of Jefferson County zoning and become your own zoning board. Then you have to create a board, and then you'd have an inspector. That's why cities and things can do it.
Right.
They have zoning authority, towns don't.
Right.
And the other thing is, Rock Lake is a accessory dwelling unit, you can get lake access access, you mentioned that. Does that mean another pier onto the lake, on that lake frontage? I mean, Lake Mills is kind of unique, well, not unique, but it's one of the towns in Jefferson County that has a lake. It's one of the only ones that has property on the lake. Maybe Oakland does, Town Lake Mills. I don't know of any other ones in Jefferson County. So we're kind of different, we're different than other townships, of the 1,600 townships in Jefferson County. We have a lake, which I think is a big issue for the ADUs, because that's where they're gonna be built. And that's where the Airbnbs are gonna come into effect,
Yes.
and the parties, and everything else. That's where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's the reason of past plan commission. But we didn't have the whole
Zoning ordinance,
zoning
proposed
ordinance. I
ordinance.
haven't read it either, so I don't know
Yeah.
really what it's like now. I don't even think you have them, or do you? Have the way they're gonna reword it?
Yes, there's
You do.
some.
Some, yeah. But they don't address enforcement or anything else. There's a lot of questions. I don't think it's very well thought out by the comments. Anyway, I'm done.
Appreciate your
Stick
insight.
a fork in me.
Appreciate your insight. And I'll close the floor from public comment. See, there you go. I guess there's so many questions we have. I don't know if we can take a vote on this. I know the planning commission went through this. I think Tracy needs a little time to review this. I know I probably have some additional questions.
Okay.
Was there,
I don't know, I know they're waiting for.
They're requesting feedback from us.
Right.
right? So I guess.
I don't know if we need a motion in order to give them feedback or.
Well, we have a decision form, like if you make a motion, we have to have it on the decision form. We can note on the decision form that we made no decision, if that's the route you're going. I don't know if that's gonna hold them up from deciding what they're going to do. If this is just a recommendation from the town, you know, they may move forward. Even if we plan on discussing it further next month, they may move forward in the meantime. So.
I guess in the one note here, it said, you know, the planning commission or the town board has concerns with the language. We encourage you to identify those concerns. So
Okay.
I guess, let's compile those
Okay.
and
How do you want to compile them, Kyle?
yeah, good question.
Why don't you each come up with a list,
Okay.
and I will submit each of those lists organized in a manner that they can understand, and
Okay.
Yeah,
then I'll submit it that way. With the understanding that you are not taking a vote on this, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
No action on
that
it?
is correct.
Okay.
Okay,
I think Jim's idea that we have a lake should be added to those comments, because that uniqueness, I think, is a key point that others don't have. And maybe the other part of it, Drake Daly made this comment several city council meetings ago, as he said, when we put the sanitary sewer around the lake, we should have annexed all of that property. Well, because it's a town,
right.
but it's a city, you know, and they're already stressing about bringing the sewage treatment plant up to code.
Code.
So you're
Yes.
saying it'd be a stress on that current
Oh,
system?
gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, density is a problem if you're not changing the sewage or the water treatment plant.
Right.
So I think we have some unique things here, as Jim said, that put us in a little different boat than if you're out in the middle.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the list, discussion or decision on the 2026 animal control contract.
Did you print something for us on that?
That was from your past packet.
Okay.
Yep. You
All
can
right,
take a
so
look
I
at mine
remember
again.
what it was.
Take a look at mine. So we had Jefferson County, our Humane Society of Jefferson County, who's been our provider for a while, and then I did seek an estimate from the Watertown facility as well. But those are your two options.
Okay. Didn't we have questions regarding,
Yes.
I guess, what services either one of them provide
And
the
I-
town as an entity
Did I forward those to you as they were coming in?
versus individuals?
Yes. I'm looking for, I believe I sent forward them to you guys as, did you check your email?
Town pays nothing beyond the contract terms outside the rare police seizures, all medical care, vaccinations, treatments.
Was that for the Watertown one that? was
No,
just
that's
on?
Jefferson County.
Okay.
Boarding costs are occasionally passed along to the owners of reclaimed pets at $15 a day. Decided on a case by case, doesn't impact the town at all. In quarantine bite cases, the pet owner covers the flat fee upon arrival and includes all quarantine care and inspections. Legal seizures, if the town legally seizes the pet and brings it to us, we only bill for the boarding after the initial 5-day stray hold period. And if we are unable to take ownership for adoption, must be continue to care for these these situations can sometimes extend for months or even years, as we've seen in a few cases, like several at Watertown Humane Society in Dane County. So we always collaborate closely. We'd bill the town monthly for that if the law enforcement does a legal seizure.
No, we've had no instances of that, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Medical assistance, which is spay and neuter services, euthanasia, rabies vaccine, if needed. No extra cost to the town. 3-year data. 2024, we had 10 strays, 6 surrenders, 29 medical assistances. We had 17 strays year to date, 20 surrenders, and 56 medical assistances this year.
It's quite an uptick.
Wow. Most of the strays were Tracy, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
They've been gone for a while.
yeah. I hope it's a little bit more reduced.
You thought that number would go down.
Since our current contract already covers that, then have cost. I don't.
Yeah, the name on the other.
In the past, they've had confusion around expectations beyond basic stray.
And you're talking, might want to speak in more of a full sentence so they
Yeah,
understand what
no,
you're
I'm just kind of
referring
reading through the notes here.
to. You're talking about Watertown. This is
Jefferson
County talking about Watertown service.
Yeah. They want to be upfront, and what I sent this email over, since our current agreement already covers less than half of the actual contract cost for strays and surrenders. We're unfortunately not in a position to lower our pricing further. All municipalities' contracts cover about 14% of our overall budget, but generate more than 40% of our overhead.
So when you gave those stray numbers, was that from the town of Lake Mills?
Yeah?
Yep.
56 strays from the town of Lake Mills?
It doesn't clarify, I'm just assuming that's what it is, because we
Yeah.
asked for that last 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Jim is saying it's probably cats. It doesn't divide out the animals
No.
as to what they
Oh,
are.
sure.
Most likely cats are the higher numbers.
So they take them and they don't build a town for them, but somebody from the town is dropping them off, so they feel it's a town of Lake Mills expense. Like, I live in the town, I'm picking up a dog or a cat, I'm taking it to the Humane Society, and so that's a town expense in their mind, I guess, and no one comes and gets the stray cat.
Correct.
So,
They spay them, and they take them back where they were caught and let them go. That's what they do.
okay,
Thanks for the insight, Jim.
I did not know that.
That's what they always did. You can check with them, but I'm sure that's their policy.
For the feral cats?
Yep,
Yeah.
so they got so many cats now, but they're also, a lot of them are spayed or neutered.
The ones that are adoptable, they do adopt
They
out.
probably do.
Yes.
They got so many.
Estimate for Watertown, there's no other charges. The contract amount covers all of our services. Who pays the boarding fees if no one claims the animal? After a legal stray hold, the animal goes up for adoption. If not claimed by the owner, there would not be a charge for the town for any of that. Again, the contract covers our cost for holding the animal for the duration of this stray hold. What is the process if an animal is to be quarantined due to a biting incident? The owner will have to provide the quarantine fee plus tax at the time the animal is dropped off. We do not do animal control. We don't have the staff for that, so the owner and officer will have to bring the animal to us during business hours, give necessary incident and contact information, and pay the quarantine fee in full at that time. Does that cost go back on the animal's cost? We will not provide quarantine services without payment at drop-off. So those are the questions we had on their contract.
mm-hmm. I guess one of my only concerns is, are people gonna know to go to Watertown?
Likely.
Because it's been Jefferson County forever, right?
Right.
Yes.
I personally wouldn't know to go to Watertown. I
No.
would call Jefferson County Humane Society and say, have you found my dog? Has anyone turned my dog in? They may say, where do you live? It's in Watertown. That's a possibility, right?
Yeah, a lot of times they have volunteers that are answering the phone though too, so they probably won't. It's unfortunate the difference in the cost is
What-
pretty substantial.
What was the total again, if you can read that?
So on the first page of the Watertown contract, it's $3,230 if we do a one payment at the beginning of the year. Jefferson County, our Humane Society Jefferson County is a one-time payment of $6,070.81. So well over $2,000 difference. But like you
Convenience.
said,
Convenience.
yeah.
What is that convenience gonna be? Is that gonna be more of a headache for all of us trying to deal with where it's
To
going?
redirect everybody. Yeah.
Redirecting and notifying and educating and,
Yeah.
My 2 cents is, if you're having no issues with Jefferson County, I wouldn't change, just because if you're having no issues, that means things are working well.
Okay, good insight.
That's my insight, and
that
I've
is
worked.
a level-headed thought.
And I've worked with both. So my insight would be, if you're not having any issues, and you're not getting any complaints, and you're getting good service, and your township isn't complaining about the service that it's getting, I don't know that it's worth the change. I get there's a dollar sign to it that you could save some money, but also the convenience of not having complaints and things are working well is also worth something.
And what happens if someone does take an animal to Jefferson County and we are utilizing, where we have a contract with Watertown? What happens at that
They
point?
probably can turn
Do they
away.
turn them away?
They will turn them away, okay.
And then we will have
That's
complaints.
a little bit of a concern. That is a concern to me, because it's not
It's a
your
valid
dog, it's in
concern.
your car, you're going to
Right.
Jefferson County, and they say, we're not taking it,
You-
where you live, we're not taking it.
You flip that perspective very well, so.
And you
Thank
also
you.
have, just on the other side of it as well, you also have the sheriff's department who's doing policing in the township when there's no township on. And the sheriff's department I'm guessing works much more closely with Jefferson County Humane Society. It probably has processes and protocols in place when it comes to dog bites and all sorts of things, and you know, housing animals and quarantines and all that, which probably makes it a lot easier on them and their deputies when they have to do it as well. Again,
Want a motion?
Yep.
Motion to approve the Jefferson County contract in the amount of
$6,070.81.
$6,070.81.
6,700. I wasn't writing. What was it?
$6,070.81. 607081.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion to approve the 2026 animal control contract for Jefferson County Humane Society for $6,070.81. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries for the approval of the 2026 animal control contract with Jefferson County Humane Society for $6,070.81. Whew, struggling tonight. New business, item number 11 on the agenda, discussion and/or decision of repairs to the emergency siren.
Kyle, if I may add some clarification.
Yep.
So as I was reading that, if you go down below, so John, in order to kind of break apart the idea of you go with a
Refurbished, which one?
refurbished, right? So option one is the head only with the same model. And one of the things what he says down below is that the difference between the same model and the federal signal model is that, this is above my pay grade for this, but the collector ring and the number of brushes is the issue, and then failures that come because of that. So that's the difference to decide if you want to go option one or option two. One is to replace with a somewhat refurbished same model, which would be a single brush on the collector ring. The option two is the same cost for a different manufacturer, which offers more brushes on the collector ring, which prolongs the life of it.
And then the whole thing is new, right?
And then, no, that's just the motor, it's the chopper motor that's bad,
Okay.
is the way that I'm reading this. And then the third option is replace the head only with a new similar model from a different manufacturer. So there he's recommending go with a different manufacturer to get the longer longevity out of that, the brushes that are in there. The 4 taking the 100 amps versus a single brush taking 100 amps. So that's the way that I interpret his information that he forwarded here.
So option 3 though, would that model then be a new?
I think it's
Part?
new everything, right? Is option 3 new everything or not?
Replace the head only, which is that chopper
Motor
Motor.
unit,
unit,
yeah.
new, different manufacturer.
So there would be a warranty on that? Being new
It doesn't state in
versus?
here, I would think if
There's
you're
2
buying
news
new,
and
there's
1
some sort of
refurbished,
warranty.
remember? Well,
That would be
it looks to
more-
me like there's 2 news, 1 refurbished. One of the news cost $3,000 more than the other new. That's what it
Neither-
looked like to me.
Neither option 1 or 2 are new. Replace head
Right.
only with a used similar
Similar.
model,
Okay.
and then replace head only with a used similar model of a different manufacturer.
Okay.
So option 1 and 2 are used motors, just one is the same manufacturer or going with a different manufacturer
And different is the 4 brushes?
versus the 2 brushes.
And then
yes.
the four-
Or 1 brush
Okay.
on the collector ring.
So are you recommending 2 now?
I
My
would,
interpretation of what he's saying is to go with the one that offers the more brushes, which seems to last longer, is the way that, because he says the failure we are seeing is due to the design of the collector ring using only 1 brush, which may carry the full load of 100 amps. The other manufacturer, which is federal, uses 4 brushes, thereby dividing the current between each brush down to 25 amps, greatly increasing the reliability and spread.
You said option 2 is the one with the 4 brushes?
Yes, that's what I'm reading.
And it seems to cost the same as option 1, is what I recall.
Yes.
Was this something that insurance,
That's what we gotta check on. Do we have any type of report from the incident or anything?
All I've gotten was this.
Okay. I can ask our insurance company, because we didn't know it had gotten hit by lightning, so
Well,
that's,
and the way that I'm reading this here is, I swore it was a hit by lightning, but I'm not seeing that in here. I'm seeing more
okay. There's a failure.
of the brushes.
I would assume it's probably gonna be a no from our insurance company on that.
Well, and what's our deductible? This is only $3,900. I mean,
I
I
don't know
assume
off the
we've
top
got
of
a
my
pretty
head.
high deductible.
That I'm actually starting to wonder if it's even listed on our insurance. I'm sure it's gotta be, we've had these for how long, but we should
And I will
double
say,
check that.
Once that you interact with David, David is a very good guy at this stuff, but he's been listening to tornado sirens and weather alerting sirens for a very long time, so communing with him is,
Hilarious. He hears like
So you should do it in writing.
yes.
Duly noted.
Work hazard.
Yeah, my hearing aids are in. Well, I don't know if we should get back to him and ask him for a recommendation, or if we should have a motion to approve option 2.
I think if we are gonna fix this, I mean, we're not using the tornado sirens now, but if there's another emergency,
It
right?
needs time to get done.
It would be time to get done, so I guess if you don't wanna have a motion for option 2 and wanna ask him more questions for clarity of what option 2 provides, besides what Chief has provided us, then we do that next month, to push that off, but,
And I believe we have, and I know the capital outlay account that we've been using has been for like the squad and that kind of thing, but this could come out of capital outlay account, I believe.
my follow-up question was gonna be the budgetary item.
Yeah, because we have nothing budgeted for this.
Right, that's why I was
Now
thinking
or
if we
next
had
year.
document to say that it was hit by lightning, would the insurance company do anything?
Either way, I think we probably end up having to pay outright first. and
Yeah.
then
Right, because of the
final thing.
deductible, yeah,
to your point, if it's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah,
yeah.
so we'd probably have the cash apply, if we do it this year, depending on when they charge us, we'll have the cash apply from the capital outlay account into our budget to cover the costs either way, whether it's this year or next year.
Yeah.
Cal, do you want to talk to him? Do you want to ask one of us to talk to him? Do you want to ask the chief to talk to him to get further information and then proceed pursuant to that recommendation?
I would like him to clarify, if you can just communicate what those, because, I know you messaged him, but I want to make sure that it's that same federal 4 brushes, that he just spells that out, so that we understand that we're all on the same page, and that that's what that used item is.
Sure.
So I'm assuming that's part of the clarification we're looking for
Yeah.
on that.
And then do we want to proceed, or do we want
I
to
was gonna say,
discuss
do
it
you
at
want
the
to do a
next meeting?
conditional motion?
Yeah,
Once you get that answered?
yeah,
Somewhat. All persons.
Should I make the motion?
yes, on the condition.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to proceed with option number 2 pursuant to Chief Russ contacting Badger Maintenance, Badger Land Communications to confirm that option number 2 is the 4-brush system. And I guess that they think it's probably the best option for us to go with.
Their best option is probably number 12,
But I think we're only going to consider I'm going to say between option number 1 and option number 2. That's there. Go ahead, Tom.
Talking to the chief, I think option 1, the 1 brush is refurbished. There are replacement parts in it. And number 2 is a 4 brush, is a completely as-is used unit, which is probably why the prices are the same or comparable.
As is versus refurbished,
It does spell that out.
Yeah,
So
used
option 1,
similar.
replace head only with a similar model, somewhat refurbished. All parts and labor would be $39.75. And option 2 is replace head only with used similar model from a different manufacturer, which the only other manufacturer he mentions is the one that's. the
Federal.
Ford.
Right.
Okay,
And then-
fully unrefurbished then, is what the assumption is?
That would be how this is written.
Okay.
Did you finish making your motion?
Yeah,
You're still
did you-
working on it?
Now I'm,
If you
wanna
would like, I
retract
can
it?
reach out to them and see if they can find one and then refurbish it. And
That's-
then give us that price if you would like that.
yes,
Okay.
So you don't need to.
so, Hunt? Is that what you said?
I'm sure that's the official, you're gonna retract.
Is that what
I
you said?
believe.
Oh, retract?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to retract the motion.
Okay, motion has been retracted.
It's never was seconded, yeah. Okay, so what would you like to do?
Hear the feedback, or receive the feedback to the next meeting, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, let's.
So no action.
No action at this point. Let's wait till the feedback to get clarity on what that next piece is. I mean, refurbished, what's somewhat, like,
Yeah, that's real official.
It's kind of broad.
yeah.
Just worries me, where did it come from? Why aren't they using it?
Right.
That's what I'm concerned about. And now that you point out some of that verbiage, I'm rereading it, I was like,
And maybe a little clarity about warranties.
yeah, warranty as well. If there is any, even if it's a 1 year, right, parts and labor. At least clarification on that. All right. Next item, discussion or decision of the approval of the 2026 budget.
Just a general motion then.
Just motion to that.
Is this in the amount of $1,438,482? This sheet?
Yes, as printed on the notification.
Yep.
Okay,
And where
motion,
was some of our sweet spots that we were able to trim?
We were able to cash apply more from this year's budget from the highway department into next year's because of
Okay.
the snow plowing costs that carry over into the new year and such.
All right,
So
I
we're
was
okay.
wondering about that.
Yeah, we're okay. We still have some left of this year's budget yet then to do the brushing.
Thank you, Chief.
And you had that question about the equalized value.
Yes.
So I asked our assessor about why there was such a change in the commercial values, and he said that was a market change. He checked it as well, and that's just what was changed at the state level.
Okay,
So we had no control over it, we didn't lose any commercial properties or anything, it's just the market change.
okay.
It went down pretty significantly.
Wow. Alrighty, is there a motion to approve?
motion to approve the, Town of Lake Mills budget, in the amount of $1,438,482 as presented on the, what's this called, please?
The official budget notice.
As presented on the official budget notice.
Second?
There's been a motion to approve the Town of Lake Mills 2026 budget for $1,438,482 as noted on the official notice for the public budget hearing. Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries to approve the Town of Lake Mills 2026 budget of $1,438,482 as noted on the official notice for the public budget hearing. Item C, under new business, discussion or decision of contract assessment with equity appraisals.
So the contract amount is down again because it's not a reassessment year. And it's for 1 year. There it is, here.
I'll make a motion to approve the maintenance assessment contract for 26-27 years for Town of Lake Mills with Equity Appraisal LLC in the amount of, I believe it was $14,000.
yeah.
Correct.
I'll second that.
There's a motion to approve the contract for equity appraisals for the Town of Lake Mills for 2026 in the amount of $14,000. Let's see, 2026, 2027, excuse me. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries for the approval of the contract for assessment with equity appraisals for the 2026-2027 Town of Lake Mills assessment maintenance year for $14,000. Item D, discussion or decision on Miljala/Cedar Lane dredging project.
So, this board talked about, it was brought up that there may have been money put aside in the last board to dredge the channel, to the, in the portion of the channel in the public right of way, at least that was our understanding, in contacting, the engineer, for the township. I believe the board, perhaps Tom, reached out to that engineer and asked him to look into renewing that permit or getting permit approvals for that dredging within the public right-of-way. So I contacted the engineer. He said they looked for the old permit and couldn't find it, and then it fell by the wayside. So that's what happened with the engineering firm. I contacted Wes, what's Wes's last name? Dawson, yeah. I contacted Wes, asked him about the dredging in the past. Wes sent me the old permits, which I believe were only about 5 years old, that Wes had pulled those permits himself and gotten all the approvals and things like that through the county, the DNR, whoever he had to get them with. Those, I believe those have now expired. It was Wes's understanding that those could just be renewed, in other words, brought back at any point in time without a lot of effort. In further conversation with the engineer indicated that the rules regarding this dredging have changed since those permits were pulled. That was internal by his office, by the way. I need to follow up with him and ask him to confirm that with the DNR. I mean, there was an environmental person in his office who said that, and that person said, pulling a permit could cost in excess of $15,000 with the amount of information that has to be provided, the amount of engineering design that has to be provided. So that's one thing. I'm not sure he's correct and Wes is wrong. I'd like to ask our engineer to follow up with the DNR to confirm that he's correct and Wes is wrong. The other thing is this board, asked me to look into, the dredging within the public right-of-way. Well, when I went and looked at it, that barrier isn't at the edge of the public right-of-way. That air barrier is probably 60 feet away from the road. So we wouldn't, the right-of-way ends about 10 feet from the road. So this dredging project would be much larger to go all the way to the barrier. People want us to look into replacing the barrier and things like that. We don't have any of this in our budget. We don't have $15,000 in our budget. We don't have anything in our budget for dredging up to that barrier.
And that cannot come out of the lake account, the Rock Lake
Right,
account.
cannot. We looked at this when I was, I am still an RLIA board, and we looked at this in the past and tried to do work upstream from this. And that work we tried to do upstream, which would prevent the silting in of this area, We were unsuccessful in being able to move forward with that work because the work's on private property and we weren't getting the approvals to do the work from the property owners, nor did we have a budget for it either. That work was estimated in the neighborhood of about $400,000. Part of which we could have gotten in a grant in a couple steps and things like that. But anyway, we didn't get permission from the landowners to do the work on their property. So that's where this sits right now. My personal recommendation is I can't recommend doing any work on the Majala Channel unless, we took care of what was happening upstream from there, because it's just going to silt in again. And unless this board wants to accept the responsibility of continuing to clean that, I just don't see it being something that we would want to take on. That's my comment on it. I don't know if we need a motion or anything like that, but
Is that something that if the homeowners or the property owners within that channel to decide to do something, we could do something in conjunction in the right of way? That would be.
we absolutely can. But I would also recommend to this board that unless those homeowners formed an HOA or something like that to do that, where they collected the monies to do it and they had a body together that they were all in agreement on it, and then they were going to continue to fund it and things like that, then, we could do our portion, they could do their portion. That would be my
That's a safe bet.
recommendation on that. Just from my engineering background, I also don't think the silt barrier is the best option. Again, I think a retention or a detention basin there that had a structure in it that was almost like a dam across that channel that would silt in, the water would get to a certain height, it would go into the structure and come out. Then when it went out in the rest of the channel, some of the stuff would have settled out right here, so it doesn't go all the way down the channel. That's what the design of, detention and retention basins are. That's the purpose of them, right? Even then, if we went to the cost of, getting something like that designed and building something like that, you'd still want an HOA downstream. If we were going to do this, are you going to agree to do that?
Right.
And then also have an understanding of how this does need to be cleaned out at times, right? And so, is it every 5 years? Is it every 10 years? What is it, and how would that get funded? Something like that, would prevent some of the silt from getting further downstream. It's a pretty big study, because the higher you let this water get in here, which helps things settle out, that's not good for the base of Cedar Lane there. You want the base of a road to stay dry.
Right.
So you sort of be fighting that battle of how high do you want to let this water get in here to let this settlement of these fines occur without threatening the base of Cedar Lane. So I can't recommend doing anything personally.
Till it affects Cedar Lane, right?
Someone's put a bridge up, right?
It'd be a big step forward if the two things. One would be the permission to work on the land upstream, and the other would be the forming of an HOA for the people who have a property interest in keeping that channel open.
Understood. Well, I appreciate the in-depth
Yep, thank you for the
review
information.
of that.
Yeah.
I guess next item, I don't have any questions on that. You answered most of that of not recommending anything moving forward. Thank you, John. Discussion and resolution for 2026 fee schedules is the next item.
Okay, so our main fee schedule, which is this one that lists all the different ordinances, updates are in yellow. We added the increase in the garbage fees on here. Special assessment letter increase is on here. The one that we have a question on is the excavation. So when we have these entities come through for fiber optics or some of the other utilities, like we have a Frontier one that's kind of out here pending right now, that are larger scale projects. I know Jim helped review some of the past ones from Bug Tussle and some of those other entities. We don't have a real firm fee schedule set for that. And Kyle, I think you have, it's kind of in your wheelhouse world that you work in.
Yeah. You know, the per foot conduit is probably a more urban setting because they're shorter distances, because when you're covering like that large scale,
It's a lot, could be miles.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
It could be miles. You know, depending on that, obviously there was always a bond that was pulled as part of the permit process that they had to provide, just to make sure that there was an insurance policy for restoration, or all of a sudden if an excavation got out of control, there was a bond or an insurance plan in place if we had to fix a roadway or something that they damaged during their excavation process. It varied from municipality to municipality. For a large project like that, you know, a few $100s, you know, because a lot of that one is aerial. They're not even underground. It's just a lot of on the pole lines. So they're not even disturbing that, but it's still a large enough project that, you know, we need to collect for making sure they're restoring that and you know, really administrative fees. I think on a large project like that, it should be a minimum of, you know, $250, and then, you know, if it's encompassing the whole town, you know, I think we can go up to 500 with some of that, and then they have to provide a bond for those type of projects.
Okay, for the large scale.
Yeah.
How do we determine, how do we,
But I was gonna say, where is that
what-
threshold?
Yeah.
is that distance? Is it miles when you say scale?
Yeah, I would say miles of a project like that Frontier project that came through for lead core. Most of the mileage was aerial. They probably had, you know, maybe 1,000 to 2,000 feet total underground, so less than a half a mile. So it wasn't a ton of work that would need to be done, directional drilling. Now, open cut trenching would be a different situation of the technology, and that's where it gets collusion what that permit is. Because then if it's an open cut where they have to cut open the road, that's a whole nother mess. But that's where the bonding comes in, to make sure that we're covered on that with the restoration.
So what are you suggesting?
I would still do anything up to a mile is $250, anything over a mile is $500.
Okay. What about smaller, less than a mile? $100 fee?
Is it utility base?
It could be utility based, it could be someone that wants to, well, we had that one incident on Crowville Road where the family went in and they excavated the ditch themselves, and they really should have taken out a excavation permit.
I would say if it's like a spot permit for excavation, then yeah, let's make it $100 to make sure that we're aware of it. And, you know,
Do they need a bond in that case? The average homeowner's not gonna.
well, if they're digging on the ditch, that's a problem. That if they're that should be a red flag that they shouldn't be digging in the ditch because it's our right of way.
Right.
So that would be a first. Hey, no,
Right.
we're going to evaluate this. And if they're digging up to the right of way, you know, on their property, then it's just $100 dig fee. Because we also have to make sure that they didn't encompass the right of way or have, you know, any impact to the right of way.
And just so you know, like service hookups for We Energies, we don't charge for those. This would be beyond those basic utility
Got it.
accesses, so. Okay,
Bless you.
okay, so I
Does that
will
make
update
sense for
that.
everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll try it out. Let's see. what else?
I'd like to recommend we have like a special meeting or something to go through all these. I was reading these and I thought a lot of them were ridiculous. I don't know if you guys think they're all,
It's been pretty standard for most. Are you thinking the new ones are ridiculous? or
no,
the
just I mean, a lot of them are tiny. It's,
That's how we recoup some of our revenue.
I would think they should be more, is what
Okay.
I'm saying. I think a
Okay.
lot of these are, and they just don't seem balanced to me. Like, this one's really little and this one's really high, and, you know, but this one could have just as much negative influence or require just as much work as this one, so why is this one so little? And I'm not, I just looked through them and I had that sentiment.
Some
And-
are
and-
limited by state statute. A good
Okay.
example of that is a picnic license. You can only charge $10 under liquor licensing for a picnic license by state statute. I think cigarette license is the same thing, that can only be $5.
Yeah, and I don't want to discuss them
Yeah.
all right now, but I just felt that it
This one
could
would be-
behoove us to go through this as a team or a group and look at these and see if we think they all make sense. I felt they didn't. That's my comment.
I would like to say we could bring that up in planning for 2027's budget.
Yeah, it doesn't
I
have to
would
be
look
right
at
now.
that. I would,
If we find mid-year that we need to update this, we can do it by resolution at any time.
Okay.
yeah.
That's the thing. to keep
Some
in
of them
mind.
just seem to me they didn't even begin to pay for your time or anyone's time.
Yeah.
It's.
And then it's
and that
finding out
was
whether
my
or not
thought.
they're limited too. like
Okay.
whether they're restricted,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you might have that knowledge that I don't.
Yeah. Usually I try to note that if it's the case, but, so that's one fee schedule. Then police department's fee schedule, there were no changes on that one, so that one stays the same.
You're happy with that schedule?
I am, because this DOJ kind of is the same feeling that you shouldn't make it prohibitive for people to get records.
Got it.
You know, you should be able to recoup your basic cost, but you shouldn't make it prohibitive for them to obtain something, so.
And then the last one, I worked with MSA on the building code. Did I give you a copy of the building code? I did, okay.
Yep.
We went through that to sort of match up what we currently were doing versus what they suggested and kind of came to a happy
Okay.
medium with it. And we do need to get this one in place so they can be up and running fully, so. There weren't a lot of changes on that. There was a little bit of clarification between base fees and minimum fees and such, but beyond that. And they are willing to continue to collect the fire sign cost, like for new construction, if there's a new house built. We have them collect the cost of installing and purchasing that fire sign for us.
These are their inspection fees, correct? Or their,
The-
what
the-
would we
These are the
call
fees
these?
we charge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, in order to, okay,
yeah.
Right.
compensate them.
Yeah, and we did make sure we included an admin fee, so that we could make sure that the cost for Sharon and I processing the checks and everything and ask certain questions is all covered as well.
Okay. I mean, I think there was only a couple that changed, which was the minimum.
Yes, boy, we went through so quick. I think it was a new construction minimum, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was more clarification of, you know, where the threshold was and where you start.
yeah. The electrical was more expensive too, on
Yes.
the generators and solar panels, because that requires different
And we
tests.
did not have solar panels and
Right.
such listed out separately, and it's becoming an
Yes.
item we need to have, so,
Those, I recall in the discussion, those were the two different ones
yeah.
that we didn't have or.
How do we deal with bonds, Robin? A completion bond for 1 and 2 family dwelling for $500.
That one, we haven't been collecting. They had that in their fee, so I think if we want to strike that, we can. They're okay with not collecting that, but I wanted to leave that on there until we do for sure whether or not we wanted to go back that route. It's not very effective.
I think it should be more. I mean, if I got a completion bond for $500 and I don't want to complete my project, I'm like, go pull my bond, I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
You know, I'll leave the thing uncompleted.
And I think that's
You
why
can have my
we used to
$500.
have $1,000 bond.
Yeah, I think it should be more.
No, 500. Was it? I thought it was 1,000.
I mean, that's
we had.
again, just sort of going through some of these things.
It was 400, we raised it to 500.
No, maybe that's something, okay.
I think it should be $1,500.
Where's that one at?
It's under an admin fee, a completion bond for all 1 and 2
Oh,
family
Very
there it
last thing
is.
on those
I'm
steps.
sorry.
And do we have like grading bonds for when someone does a subdivision? Is there, what are the bonds associated with the grading and on that and the roads?
That
Again,
might be
that's
more
not on
back in
this,
this.
that's not on this agenda right now, but,
Right. That may
That
be
would
one.
be
when-
likely on this other,
Yeah.
okay. And we can discuss that separately then, I
yeah,
apologize.
no, that's okay, something we
Before-
should capture if it's. We did, like I said, we did do away with the occupancy bond, which is the completion bond, same thing. What was that? How many years ago?
Well, probably when we switched to the guy, when our
Oh, when we
building
went,
inspector
when we went to the
quit,
city,
when
we,
went with the city.
yeah, we decided to do away with it, because what he does is he just charges them additional inspections until they pass.
So that's what the meaning of this is, this bond? So it's just for a completion permit, or what's the meaning of this bond?
Well,
Completion
it's
bond?
supposed to be an incentive for them to finish their work, and then they get this back.
Without having to continually re-inspect, is that what you're saying?
Right, and Troy, when we went with him, he said the bonds usually are not very effective, and that it's better just to have the inspector stay on them and make sure they get it completed, and then charge the reinspection fees.
Otherwise, they don't get occupancy and they keep having to pay inspection
Right,
fees.
right. In the meantime, we are having to hold those funds on administrative side.
Sure.
And then we have to return them
Sure.
finally at some point.
Sure, I
So it's more
understand that.
administrative steps.
Pain in the
So-
butt, yeah.
And that's why it's not listed under the rates on the far right-hand side, because that's one of those oddballs that we had to kind of decide if we wanted to do that or not. They were okay with us not, if we wanted to continue with what we had been doing for the last year.
Well, an early start permit's nice, for $175. I would recommend that.
Okay. And then the 300 for pools, because we're getting more requests for pools. And there's a lot, like an in-ground or above ground pool that's more complex. There's electricity, there's a lot more to it, so.
And that's their recommendation for the cost, that's what
Correct.
it's gonna cost them, plus
Yes.
what it's gonna cost us?
Yes.
Okay.
Those were the erosion control under commercial, $200 for the first acre plus $100 per acre. Are you guys okay with that?
I am. I mean, that's something, there's a big problem with getting completed properly.
Right.
Yeah.
And then under electrical services wiring, under commercial, this was another one that was kind of set aside, the 35 cents per square foot and $35 base fee.
And that's what they're recommending?
That was different from ours.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, if
Yeah.
that's gonna
Yeah.
cover their
Okay.
costs.
Yep.
That's same up above, that's same under the residential up above as well. Re-roof re-siding, $7 per $1,000 of evaluation, sorry, that's back up under residential. So they do issue permits for re-roofs, because most re-roofs now do tear down to the decking, so.
I've never seen anyone pull a permit for re-roofing.
Apparently, that's something that they come across quite often, so that was something that we need to decide if that's what we expect.
I'm not familiar with it. So,
No.
I think it's because they don't want any more than 2 layers of shingles on it. So
Right.
This way,
Right?
I don't know any roofers that are doing that anymore.
no, I know, but
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a control. And I think the other push on this is the insurance companies who are seeing all these roofs that want to be redone after hailstorms, and they may not have a permit to prove how old the roof is, and they don't have a permit to show how it was done, things like that, the standards.
I guess that could be an issue.
Well, I can't argue against it, I'm not familiar with
Yeah.
it at all.
I'm kind of with you, John. I've not really seen that either. It's just interesting.
Okay, I mean, do you want to include it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's, I think, what we need to know for that. Erosion control, again, under residential, just a few lines up from that, 135 for a new building and $75 for an addition.
Sure. Adam.
So we're gonna, other gaps were, I think that was, other and down at the very bottom where it says miscellaneous, I think these are ours that were existing. So like double fees are due if work is started before the permit is issued. Permit renewal, 50% of the permit base fee on the current fee schedule, but not less than the minimum fee for a renewal.
Does that mean after a year? What's renewal?
2 years, I believe.
Okay.
I think it's 2 years. Anything else that you feel is missing, or once we worked through it, they were happy with it. We just had those few things that we had to clarify, so.
I'm fine with the additions.
Okay. And they do have a little bit different schedule that they normally use. And they like consistency amongst all the municipalities so that we're not higher than our neighbors and
Right.
it's a little easier for them to inspect, but what they'll do is they'll plug in our numbers into their system, so when they construct what the permit fees are within their electric system, digital system, it'll automatically calculate all those for them too, so.
What is raise, remodel, demolition? What's that?
Raise is where they take a building down.
Okay. What's remodel, demolition? You're already pulling a building permit if you're, if a permit's required, you're already pulling a permit for a remodel or a demo, right? Or not?
Right.
I just don't know.
Well, I think the raise, like if they're taking off, say, a portion of the house and they're
Yeah.
gonna remodel by reconstructing a new addition on that same spot, that
Yeah.
captures that. And it does refer to ordinance 5-26.
Okay. And
That's
then
a way to
permit
capture
fee,
it.
that's just on top of everything else, you always have a permit fee? What the next one says permit fee.
That one, I'm
What
not
does
sure
that
what
apply to?
that's for. I'm wondering if that's supposed to be an admin fee on that one. That's a good question on that permit fee there. I think that might have been one that we had, and they've started adjusting that.
And then there's a state seal fee. I mean, does that mean if the plans have a stamp on them, we're charging a fee to the person pulling
Every
it?
new home has a state seal once they have occupancy, and that's the state seals, oh gosh.
So that's part of an occupancy permit?
Correct.
Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you. You clarified that for me.
And then again, this one can be adjusted, and I even told them that, since we're new with them, if they get 6 months into this, they're like, this isn't working, we can adjust it and then redo the resolution too.
Okay.
As of right now, the resolution includes all of the 3 fee schedules together on one resolution, just so you know.
Okay.
And
So you have a
Kyle,
motion?
Let's,
we'll have to read the resolution.
Oh, okay.
Kyle.
this one,
Yes, that one.
you want me to read it now for everyone?
That's what the process is, yes.
Resolution 2025-1111, Town of Lake Mills Fee Schedule. Whereas the Town of Lake Mills Board has determined that it is prudent to create and update periodically a general fee schedule, police department and building inspection fee schedule together should be referred to as fee schedules to provide efficiency, economy, and uniformity in establishing and adjusting fees charged by the Town of Lake Mills as enumerated through the Town of Lake Mills Code of Ordinances and to the abbreviated general schedule and the building inspection schedule. And whereas the fees set forth in the fee schedule append the fees for the Town of Lake Mills Code of Ordinance, and whereas the fees set forth in the fee schedules may be added or amended from time to time by adoption of resolution. And whereas the town board shall review the fee schedule on at least an annual basis for the purpose of adjusting and updating fees charged by the town, and any amendments or additions thereto may be made by resolution, and whereas the fee set forth in the fee schedule shall supersede any fee established elsewhere in the town's code of ordinance for the same charge. If a fee is set forth elsewhere in the town of Lake Mills code of ordinance or via a resolution, and there's no corresponding fee set forth in the attached fee schedule, the fee set forth elsewhere in the code of ordinance or the resolution shall control until such time a fee for the same charge is established in the fee schedule. And whereas the town gives the authority to collect fees outlined on the building inspection fee schedule on behalf of the town to be contracted building inspector provided by MSA. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Lake Mills Board approves the following fee schedules. Fee and bond schedule 2026, building and inspection fee schedule 2026, police department fee schedule 2026, as defined in the attached schedules dated November 11th, 2025, and be effective upon passage of this resolution and posting of the resolution. To certify this foregoing resolution is adopted on today's date,
November 11th.
November 11th, 2025.
Then make a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-1111, Town of Lake Mills fee schedule.
Second?
There's been a motion for the resolution, approval of revolution. Jesus. There has been a motion for the approval of the resolution 2025-1111, Town of Lake Mills fee schedule. Any further discussion or help trying to get that out for me? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries for the approval of resolution 2025-111, Town of Lake Mills fee schedule. Whew.
It's a mouthful.
I think I was gonna struggle that.
I missed it. Could you read it again?
Yeah. You can stay after class.
Thanks, Scott. That's a tough one to get through.
Item 12, correspondence.
Well, we got the emails about the drainage issues, including, like you were mentioning, the one with the HOA issue, that it's actually a change in a berm that was established within a subdivision when it was developed, and the other property owner removed that berm between the homes, but it's not within a town property, it's not on the road right of way, it sounds like somebody's backyard where the berm
It's two property lines.
Yeah,
It's where two
property
property
lines.
lines meet,
Yeah.
I think.
We have no images, we have, other than just an email from the Warros family, that's all we have about the issue, so.
Is there follow-up that needs to be done on our part, or has that just been handed off to the HOA? I think we met one lady.
Yeah, Lynn Pure, sounds
Yeah.
like she's on the HOA, which is good to know. I had sent an email to Chris Schmidt, who sounds like he's still the current treasurer for the HOA. I have not received any response back as far as what their regulations are. Like John was saying, there should be some covenants. I'm not even sure which HOA this involves, because there's a newer one from the Bridle Path area. And then there's a long established one in the older area of the Short Hills area. I'm not even sure which one it falls under. In the covenants, the newer one, I do believe we have a copy of. The older one, I don't know if I've ever seen a copy of that in all the years I've been with the town. So,
Did they pull a permit for excavation?
it's not on the road right away. Whether or not they got an erosion control permit, I don't know.
Well, it's just a question, because when subdivisions are approved, and Bridle Path's a perfect example, there's drainage there that seems to be like a half a mile long or something like that. It's such a long road.
Yeah.
And, all those property corners and property lines are established everywhere. All four corners are established, because it also is supposed to drain between lots, either to the front ditch or to the backyard. And then where those yards come together, it's supposed to drain, all the way down to a long detention basin. And the homeowners just lose sight of the fact that those drain lines are supposed to be protected. I
Right.
mean, it affects everybody upstream and everybody downstream, and people who go out there and do their gardening and, you know, wanna do things, and they lose sight of it. And, or they don't care, there's those two things. And so, to me, it just falls into, is this us,
I
or
think it's
is it
more of
the
a civil
HOA?
matter.
you
It's
know?
the HOA or it's a civil matter between property owners.
Okay, should
What
we
is
ask
the-
our attorney? I mean,
It might be a towns association question, because that should be a general legal question about properties and things
Yeah.
like that. That's a free service, we have membership too, but
Yeah.
it's more cost effective to ask them.
okay, and does that mean you would ask them?
Either
I'm not
myself
sure.
or any one of us can, so
Okay.
you know. But this particular correspondence that we received, I feel that there's some past history that seems like it's a civil matter between the property owners, because it probably falls into the category of, you know, rainwater is coming onto this other neighbor's property possibly now because of this change.
Maybe, maybe not, but you can't change the grades on those
Right.
property lines anyway. Either, whether it's gonna affect this person who says my lot never flooded,
And it may be
whether
the
it's gonna
HOA
affect
gets
them or
involved.
not is not relevant. I
Right.
mean, what's relevant is you cannot change those grades where those properties meet,
Right.
off the approved engineering design.
Right. Now, when the issue with the other drainage question
ditch.
for the ditch, that's in the road right of way, so that
Right.
would involve the town.
Right. And with regard to that, Kyle, I'm not sure why we have to get the engineer involved. Are you concerned about something there? Because the contractor who did the work are recognizing the fact that they didn't repair it properly, and they said they'll go out there and do it. They'll repair it properly, is
So-
what they said.
Supposedly they did that, and it's still causing an issue.
I think that falls on the burden of the person that's,
Years
this is an
ago.
issue.
Right.
I mean, they went in there, they came out and they dug it back out and restored, but they didn't restore it properly. So it's been wrong for like 3 years now.
Okay.
And so the contractor who did it wrote us and said, we filled this, we restored it improperly. We'll go do it properly. You know, we just want to know if this is in the right of way or not in the right of way, because if it's the township's property, hey township, just give us permission to go do it and we'll go do it. So that doesn't really need to involve our civil engineer to look at it.
It was them saying that the grade was all wrong.
They did, and if you drive past it, you can
Yeah.
see it's wrong, you know, and so they're recognizing it's wrong, and they said they'll reestablish it, you know, properly.
And I'm
And
not-
they've got surveying equipment and stuff like that, you know, they can shoot grade themselves.
That's what I was looking for, is what that grade is from their engineer, not ours.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
their engineer would have to show that the grade is off, and,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and show that needs to be repaired, or where
We
that
can
needs to
certainly
be.
have our engineer.
Do you
confirm
want to
that it's
follow up with them? Do you want me to follow up with them?
If you can follow up with them, that
Yeah.
would be great.
I would
Seems like
tell
you've
them to
got-
do an as-built. So
Yeah.
you guys get this done and then provide us with an as-built that shows it's pursuant to the original plan. when you're
Great.
finished. Is that all
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's a good plan. Any other correspondence that you guys received at all?
Nope. Future agenda items.
I will have to have the siren.
Siren, yep.
And do you want to do anything more with the ADU?
Yeah, we're gonna have to have the ADU on there for a future agenda item.
Okay,
We will have to make a decision for that.
yeah, at that point.
They wanna see something. We just have to review it, get our questions answered, get them compiled, and go from there.
Okay.
What is the Parks Committee workshop? That's to be announced.
Well, right now, Donna has resigned from the Parks Committee, and Jason has sort of informally resigned. He's kind of said, and I informed him of Donna's resignation, so I suppose I should probably do that too, because he's working second shift now, so we're down
Donna
to
Krasinski?
Donna
Yeah.
Brzezinski and Jason Sherrier
Okay.
have basically resigned. So we have three committee members left.
Tom
Seems to be busy.
Yeah,
busy.
he's also taking care of a family member as well, it sounds
Right,
like.
out of town.
Out of town, so he's available via phone and not necessarily here all the time. So that's been difficult.
Yeah.
I think maybe an agenda item is, what do we do with the Parks Committee?
Yeah. What's
You
the
know.
most effective way to,
Yeah, do we add another seat to the Planning Commission to have Parks and Planning?
odd number if we can?
Yeah, or 2 seats, I guess, I don't know, to make sure that they're managing that aspect,
Or do we have the existing
or, yeah,
members deal with it? It's a 5-member committee.
yeah,
Yeah,
make it an agenda item, let's talk about it.
because it would probably entail changing ordinances
Correct.
to update that.
With that, unknown to the Parks Committee, I doubt they're meeting at 7 o'clock at the town hall.
No, that's why I kind of put on there.
November 12th, the Joint Rock Lake Committee meeting at 6 PM at the City Hall. December 2nd, 2025, Planning Commission, 7 PM at the Town Hall. And December 9th is our last town board meeting of 2025, December 9th, at 7 PM at the Town Hall. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor to adjourn the meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Meeting is adjourned.